Cletus, why me?
What's mine is yours, and what's yours is mine.
Created by writer David Michelinie, artist Mark Bagley, and first penciled by Chris Marrinan, Carnage is a notorious symbiote, usually featured as an adversary of Spider-Man and as the archenemy of Venom. With the success of Venom, which we covered in the past in a video I'll be leaving a link to in the description, Marvel wanted to take the symbiotes in a much darker direction, but were worried about pushing Venom's character beyond redemption. Enter Carnage, one of the most terrifying villains whose bloodlust was matched only by its depravity. Like Venom, Carnage has had multiple hosts over the years, including Ben Reilly, the genetic clone of Peter Parker, Carl Mallis and Norman Osborn among others. But its perfect bond is with its first host, the infamous serial killer Cletus Cassidy, whose sadistic disposition perfectly complemented it.
What's wrong? Cassidy is gone. There is only Carnage!
While it's difficult to pinpoint the truth behind his childhood, due to Cassidy's flawed recollections of his past, we know that he was born in the Ravencroft Institute to a mother with paranoid schizophrenia who died shortly after his birth. The boy was then given over to a physically abusive old lady who may or may not have been his biological grandmother that he killed by pushing down a flight of stairs. Things didn't work out too well in the next home, where he lived with Roscoe and Louise, either foster parents or his biological father and stepmother, depending on which issue we're dealing with. After the boy killed the family dog, Cletus watched as Roscoe murdered his wife and went to prison, putting the child in a boys' home. His malevolent tendencies continued, with Cletus pushing a girl that had rejected him into a bus, before burning the institute to the ground, killing the administrator and the other orphans who had bullied him. Over the following years, Cletus slowly transformed into a notorious cannibalistic serial killer that was eventually arrested and sentenced to 11 consecutive life sentences at Rikers Island, though he bragged of killing more. There he would meet his new cellmate, Eddie Brock, after he'd become separated from Venom. Fed up with Cassidy's unrelenting attempts to convert him towards his nihilistic philosophies, Eddie beat up Cletus on a number of occasions. Enraged by this, Cletus prepared to kill him using a shiv, but the Venom symbiote arrived just in time, bonding with Eddie and giving him a way out. Unknown to Brock, the Venom symbiote left an asexually produced offspring behind that entered Cassidy's bloodstream through a cut in his hand and amalgamated with his blood. Calling himself Carnage, the homicidal maniac broke out and embarked on a killing spree, leaving the calling card Carnage Rules written in his blood at the scene of his crimes. Whereas the symbiote developed its unprecedented bloodlust and delight in killing everything in its path from Cassidy, Cletus inherited the symbiote's lust for power, leading to an evolution in their schemes. This saw the agents of chaos go from random killing sprees to legitimate attempts at world domination, and even incursions into the microverse.
You live in my body, you live by my rules.
I'm sorry! I don't know what came over me, please let me fix it, so I can push it again! You are a loser.
Unlike Venom, the Carnage symbiote is extremely submissive and loyal to Cletus and his nihilistic ideology, often operating as an extension of him despite having a mind of its own. So much so that when it bonds with another host, it begins forcing the memories of Cletus onto them in the hope that this psychological torture would eventually make them more like him. Because Carnage gestated in an environment that was alien to its species, it was able to develop abilities wholly unique to only it. And since the symbiote had integrated itself into the blood of Cletus, altering his physiology and metabolism, Cassidy could essentially generate a copy of his symbiote from his blood at will. This perfect symbiosis endowed Cassidy with physical strength greater than that of Spider-Man and Venom combined, as well as shape-shifting abilities, the power to create web-like substances or weapons from any part of his body, and the ability to plant thoughts into a person's head using a tendril. He was so powerful that it often required Spider-Man, Venom, and a team of heroes working together to put a stop to his murderous machinations.
That is a red one!
You need to come out right now.
I will let you eat everybody! Promise! I promise! Oh yeah!
As a direct result of Venom's first host, Peter Parker, who transferred some of Spider-Man's powers into the symbiote, Carnage can cling to walls by controlling the flux of interatomic attraction between molecular boundary layers. He also has a version of Spider-Man's Spider Sense, with each cell containing multiple sense receptors that warn him of incoming threats, as well as many other abilities we'll be exploring in this video. In addition to superhuman strength, speed, agility, stamina, durability, and a regenerative healing factor that puts Spider-Man and Venom to shame, Carnage also has ESP immunity, enabling him to bypass Spider-Man's spider sense and even suppress Venom's ability to detect its offspring. Like its brethren, the symbiote has innate psychic abilities that it's yet to fully understand. Because of this, most of its mind control comes in the form of downloading the insanity and evil of both Cletus and it into others using its tendrils. And like every other member of its species, it can utilize its parasitic inheritance to copy the powers and abilities of anybody after interfacing with their genetic code. In addition to its fangs and razor-sharp claws, using a process of constituent matter generation, it can ingest the organic material of victims to grow and expand to any size and store multiple items and even people through dimensional apertures within its biomass. This generation of matter contributes to its constituent matter manipulation powers as well, enabling it to shapeshift into various forms, including but not limited to other people, forms of clothing, objects like swords, knives, axes, to even wings. I didn't find this out till recently, but Carnage even has technological and digital immersion powers. After discovering how to spread his biomass by splicing his molecules through Ethernet cables to travel between hardwired computer systems, Carnage was able to spread to the frickin' internet. In one case, it managed to upload its insanity into the Iron Man suit, giving it full control over Stark's technology. Despite the bond between Carnage and Cletus being so strong that it's almost impossible to separate them, the symbiote has obviously willingly left Cassidy to find more powerful hosts, including John Jameson's Spider-Man, forming Spider-Carnage, and even the Silver Surfer, forming Carnage Cosmic. However, it considered Cletus the perfect host and hated being separated from what it considered family, so much so that it abandoned the cosmic powers of the Silver Surfer after learning that Cletus was dying without their symbiosis. During its bond with Norman Osborn and transformation into the Red Goblin, Norman had augmented Carnage with the Goblin formula, giving buffs to many of its abilities while simultaneously making it immune to fire and sonics. You know, the two main weaknesses of its kind, as long as it remained bonded to him. The infusion with Goblin formula also gave the symbiote a form of pyrokinesis. This enabled it to breathe fire from its mouth, which was handy during its encounters with Venom and other symbiotes, as well as giving it the ability to create Carnage bombs, and the symbiote augmented Goblin glider, wreathed in flames. There are a handful of other powers Carnage has, depending on the storyline at hand, but what I think drives it to new heights every time is its empathic empowerment. This is, in essence, its ability to feed off and amplify Cletus Cassidy's insatiable bloodlust. Yes, that's right. It literally has the power to turn negative emotions into fuel, making Cassidy an unlimited power station. Thought to have been destroyed following the defeat of Cletus at the hands of Spider-Man and Venom, we discovered that thanks to its aforementioned strong bond with its host, the symbiote was simply able to regenerate within the blood of Cletus. Since the experiments at Hall Industries, where the Carnage symbiote developed the power to create and control offshoots of itself, several copies of Carnage now exist separately from each other at any given time. From the Doverton offshoot, created when Cletus fed the symbiote everything in a slaughterhouse, thereby increasing its biomass to a size where it could create enough offshoots to bond with most of the town's inhabitants. Carl Malice's Superior Carnage, Norman Osborn's Red Goblin, his son, Normie Osborn's Goblin Child, Spider Carnage, Carnage Cosmic, Poison Carnage, Dark Carnage, to even Mass Carnage. But regardless of the offshoot we're dealing with, due to the insatiable bloodlust developed as a result of its initial bond with Cletus, every iteration of the Agent of Chaos is an unrelenting force of destruction and madness. Whether you're a hero, villain, or even an eldritch god, Carnage will kill you and eat you in no particular order.
Tough to see you in this light, Eddie. Come on over. When I get out of here, there's gonna be carnage.
With all that being said, I'm super excited to see Woody Harrelson as Cletus Cassidy in the upcoming film, Venom, Let There Be Carnage. I'd love to hear what your favorite Carnage storyline is, so please share this in the comments below. Well, that's all for today, folks. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to stay up to date on all my content. And yeah, if you have any other suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. As always, it's been a pleasure. Niyat here with Film and Comics Explained. Thanks for stopping by.
Who are you? Your offspring. Offspring? Yes, we recall replicating.
call us Carnage.
Sorry to interrupt the reunion.
We hoped we'd run into you again.
You know me? Cassidy!
Think of the damage we can do now, man!